Folks, we have great news. The White House names Microsoft exec to run healthcare.gov. They'll fix everything for you when they're not spying on everything you do and your updates, sending the data back to the NSA. Microsoft, folks, is the top of the pyramid when it comes to these corporations that work with the globalists. Canadian River artificially sweetened. Researchers find elevated levels of sugar substitute compounds in waterways and drinking water. That, of course, is the NutraSweet, as its brand name is known, aspartame. William F. Jasper's with us for 5 minutes in the next hour. Then Larry Klayman with breaking news is coming on. You know, it's not just that my, quote, smartphone, my spy phone, has gone crazy before. I've had it hacked before with someone in there typing and sending people emails in front of me. And I've had to get rid of the phone multiple times. And then it takes the government a while to dial into the new one and jack it and mess with it. This happened to Klayman. We'll talk to him about it. This is what it's like when you deal with these globalist criminals. This is living in the real world. And it just shows how they had targeted the Associated Press and conservative and libertarian groups. William F. Jasper, isn't the biggest reason to impeach Obama and the Attorney General and to start having arrest is that they use the IRS to target pro-life groups? I mean, this is oppression, like what Hitler did to the Jews and people in the lead up to arresting them. There isn't much more they can do after this. And then they're domestically gearing up with Homeland Security for, quote, the Patriot threat. What do you see coming in the future of this fight?
Well, the IRS is a big part of it. But then, of course, and I'm sure you've reported on it as well, it has gone beyond that. The president has issued assassination orders and has carried them out with drone attacks on American citizens, on foreign citizens. And this is happening on a regular basis, just happened last week. So that is one of the most really outrageous acts that he has been carrying out, is actually making Americans used to accepting that the president can name enemies and then use our military and police assets to have them killed without any judicial proceedings and no due process. That is a very frightening development, and that's gone further again than George Bush was able to go with his executive orders. So, and that is a very definitely an impeachable area for him, impeachable offenses, and there are multiple offenses. And so we have some of the foreign organizations and human rights groups that are calling for him to be prosecuted for human rights violations. But unfortunately, we haven't had many of the liberals who were all over George Bush for all of his, and rightfully so, for all of his warmongering and criminal acts in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. Nothing of the same response from the liberals there. Same, as you probably noticed, just recently when the Obama administration had announced that, hey, we're going to stay in Afghanistan for another 10 years.
They just keep lying. We promised 2012. We promised 2014. Now it's another 10 years, and they always intended to stay. I mean, I've got to say this, though. The so-called mainline liberals are the vanguard of the authoritarian takeover, Cloward and Piven. Mainline conservatives are good folks. They're just ignorant. But it's only been the libertarian constitutional patriot Ron Paul, William F. Jasper type wing, McManus wing, that has told the truth and been real. And so when we come back briefly in a final 5 minutes with you, I want to ask you, what is our responsibility? Because we're not tooting our horns saying we're the smartest guys in the room. It's just a fact. What do we do then?
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the InfoWar in November is our new documentary film presentation,
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
Government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones.
Final little segment with William F. Jasper of The New American, newamerican.com, thenewamerican.com. I got to mention this. Chinese rover diorama shows Europe being nuked. Official state-run display has a painting behind the rover that shows a nuke going off, a giant mushroom cloud over Europe. If you scroll down, there's an even bigger image of it below. There you go for viewers. So that's up on Infowars.com right now. That just shows the craziness. And I want you to answer that question, William F. Jasper. The toll-free number for folks that want to call and subscribe to New American Magazine is 800-727-TRUE, 800-727-TRUE. And they didn't ask me to plug that, but it really has been an invaluable tool to wake myself and others up. So give the gift of reality in this new year, 800-727-TRUE, or get InfoWars Magazine, or both, at 888-253-3139. But we've only got 5 minutes left, or 3 minutes left or so now. A minute on China and its role in the New World Order and what you really think is going on, and then 2 or 3 minutes on that question, what do we do as people that aren't sellouts that know what's happening? We're not the only ones that know what's going on. Most people join with Sauron. They join with the dark side. So how does China play in, and then what do we do as the real leadership that did accurately analyze this? I think we should be a little more, not arrogant, but assertive about the fact that we know what we're talking about.
Well, China is a big part of what we see happening in the whole area that falls under the label of convergence. And you'll have to have me back on sometime just to talk about convergence. Convergence is the planned operation, incremental merging of the United States and other what used to be called the free world, the West, with Russia, China, and the rest of the communist world. And you may recall that back when the Reece Committee, back in the 1950s, in Congress, investigated the tax-exempt foundations, the Rockefeller Ford foundations, Carnegie foundations, because they were promoting left-wing socialist and communist programs, that the chief investigator, Norman Dodd, went to the Ford Foundation, and he had one of those moments that you see on movies where the bad guy just can't resist chortling to the hero about what they plan to do and how you can't do anything about it. Rowan Gaither, member of the Council on Foreign Relations, head of the Ford Foundation, told this congressional investigator, Norman Dodd, we are operating under instructions to so change the fabric of the United States that it can be comfortably merged with the Soviet Union. And at that time, that included, of course, communist China. And how was that going to be done? Well, it was going to be done by changing the economics and political structure of the United States, transferring all of our economic industrial base to China, to Russia, and to other countries, so that...
And that's what they've done. I'll get you on in the new year. Guys, book him in the first or second week to do a whole hour on convergence and to go over those committees and those documents. This is on record. In the next minute and a half, what do we do, and the listeners do that are informed, because we really do have the answers to this, what do we do?
Well, first of all, we expose them, which is what you are doing, what we're doing at the New American. First, let people know what they should be already aware of, but the mainstream media is not telling them. So we have to get this out to all of our friends and neighbors. And one of the ways to do this is to go to thenewamerican.com, and right there on the top of our menu bar of our website, you will see a menu item called Voting Index. And we put this out quarterly, and it shows all the votes of members of the House of Representatives and Senate on all the key issues such as we're talking about here, so that people will actually be able to know how their congressman, their senator is voting, not rely on what they are telling them at election time. This is a critical year, 2014.
2014 is critical. That's what Drudge has said. Everything happens this year. William F. Jasper, thank you.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.